Alright, so I'm back, and today we're going to take a look at the DX9 Blitzwing. Now this is a figure that I know we did look at, or at least I'm pretty sure we did. Now he is... I definitely think this is a case of, I think this figure would have done better if Fans Toys hadn't done what they did with their whole, well, we're doing Blitzwing too, so wait for ours. Bullshit. I think these can go like that to give them more heel spurs, yeah. There we go, that's rock solid. But it's also a figure I don't think has aged all that well. I mean, he looks the part, that's for sure. I'm trying to get the lighting right. He definitely looks the part. There's no question about like who he's supposed to be. But there's this element of him that's like somewhere in between like the older MPs, like MP10, and kind of like a Chug updated version. That's kind of seems like what's going on with this character or with this figure. So again, you know, like with all of these, you know, we're not really going to be doing a review. We're just going to be doing like an overview and see how they're holding up today. Let's see here. Sorry, my work is texting me. Alright, so, for Poseability, he's got a, I believe it's a ball joint, yeah, for the head. So you get the left, the right, a little up, a little down, and a little tiny bit side to side. I think he came with an extra face, but, you know, it's kind of hard to say. Let's see here. Let's see here. These shoulder pads kind of get up out of the way to have the arms ratchet up and down. And then these pieces here can get out of the way so that they can go out. I mean, it is the definition of cumbersome when you look at it in that light. Having to move these pieces so much to get his arm out to the side, you know, I mean, this looks like just garbage because of that. It's just, it looks bad. I suppose you could just leave that on the side, but now you've got this gray block on the side, so it doesn't clean up quite as well. But you still, either way, you have to move this out of the way, so it's kind of like, I don't know. There's a bicep swivel, double hinged elbow. This hinge here is a little on the loose side, but otherwise it's fine. Every time I move this is wanting to come out because this is how the transformation works and the assembly in there. Alright, wrist swivel on a ball joint, so it hinges as well. That one's a little on the loose side. His hands are really funky looking. So he's got the finger that's has two points of articulation here. He's got a ball joint, thumb, and a hinge, but then the ball joint also goes into another ball joint on the hand, and that rotates. And it kind of breaks up the sculpt there. I mean, it functions better than a lot of other hands, but it ain't the prettiest looking. And then the bottom three fingers are all on one or two hinges on its own. So, but it functions well. It just doesn't look well. And then the fingers aren't sculpted. They're coming out pretty well in the camera, I guess, I think, with the light reflecting. But in person, you can't really tell that they're different fingers. It looks more like he's wearing an oven mitt. Ratchet and waist swivel, that works fairly well. Not too much of articulation in there, but with what he's working with, I don't blame him. He might be able to get further out. Let's see. this is going back into like the shoulder pads. You got to get these awkward things out of the way to get things to move. And no, that's as far as it's going to go. Alright, so move this up. And let's take a look at the legs. Ratchet it up to there. Ratchet it back to there, so not much back. And when I went back, the plastic is actually splitting at the seam here. Oh, well, that's coming off. And then ratchet it out to the side. There's a thigh swivel. Ratchet knee, double hinge knee, actually. So if utilized right, you could actually get full articulation. So that's actually pretty awesome. It don't look that pretty, but it works pretty well. And then the feet have a rocker here, and then there's a tilt here as well. This seems a little loose, but give it to them. And they don't look all that pretty either. So you could have these kind of out to the back to kind of give them more stability, I think. Or maybe does this split apart? Is that what's going on here? This guy's been sitting on the shelf for so long, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Yeah, that seems a little bit better. There we go. Let's give that a try. That works too. And it does come with the rifle that plugs into his hand fairly well. Not the greatest fit. Not like the last figure we looked at in the series with Octane, where his gun fit in just perfectly. So yeah. I mean, like I said, he looks the part. He's built better than Octane, that's for damn sure. But because of the way he's designed, certain elements of him don't flow very well. And that makes him seem cumbersome. Having to move certain things like this out of the way just to get to the waist swivel, or moving these out of the way to get the arms work. And, you know, it just... there's no elegance to it. Quick size comparison. Here he is next to Starscream, and I think that works pretty well. Scale-wise, anyway. And here he is next to Octane. And the Fans Toys Astro Train. And it is, again, without a doubt, another case of, as soon as somebody else makes a better Blitzwing, I'm gonna buy it. Of these three, the only one that I really like is the Astro Train. The Blitzwing, I think, would have sold better had Fans Toys not done what they did. But I just think that everything on this seems dated at this point. You know, you got the colored plastic instead of paint. There's no finish on anything. You got little dabs of paint here and there. You got light piping eyes, right? So what's going on there? Let's see here. Get the flashlight out. Yeah, he's got light piping eyes instead of painted eyes. You know, normally I don't quite care too much about that, but the fact that it's you know, you look at what he's standing in with and everything else, it definitely gets that look of, maybe this doesn't quite fit very well. You know, he'll do the job on the shelf for now, but you know, like, this guy's still readily available on most sites. Like, you can buy him, he's generally on clearance. This guy's harder to find. You have to pay top dollar on eBay. It's not worth top dollar on eBay. It's not worth the original asking price, whatever that was. Especially compared to what we're getting now. Now, I mean, if they went through and they did a nice repaint of this guy and got him a good paint finish, shiny paint for the eyes, stuff like that, maybe he definitely would look better on the shelf with the other guys. But as it is, it's a very dated model, and I don't think it's all that old. I mean, not many of these things are all that old, like within the last 10 years or so. But ultimately, I'm going to say, again, like Octane, if you absolutely must have representation on the shelf, then yeah, go ahead, get it. If you are patient, you might want to wait till something better comes along, and see, like, Fans Toys says that they're making one, so you might want to wait for the Fans Toys one, at this point. Because you're going to be paying top dollar to get this guy on the aftermarket anyway. He's built better. He feels like a brick as opposed to him, who feels like potato chip. But the funny thing is he actually feels lighter than the Astro Trade. Even though he's a bigger bot. Where's my scale? Do I have a scale here? I don't know where it is, so we're not going to do that. I was thinking about weighing it, but too much work. Ultimately, I don't recommend this guy at this point. If you've got a better option, or if you're patient, I would wait for a better option. That's all I can really say. I don't think I would spend that kind of money again. It's one of those, like, knowing what I know now, I would have skipped these two and still gotten him. Although I would have waited, had I known what I know now, I would have waited for the reissue, because they announced the reissue shortly after I purchased this, and I was pretty ticked off about that. $400, and now he's $200. It's like, cool. But I would say patience should be a virtue here, because, we've got the KFC one, but I think he was junk, and we have the Unique Toys one of him, and I think he was more like how he looks, more toyish, or not toyish, but more like chuggish. So I would say just wait and see what else comes on down the line. I don't think these are still viable options. I don't. So yeah, that's all I got.